I wanted to talk today about the memories of my mother. I lost my mother December 2008, and it was tough. I was a long ways away. Over the years, I have been, I guess since high school, I have lived away from home. So it's been a little harder to see her, but I talk to her often. Um, and I still think of things to tell her. She's just not here. So as everyone is having memories of their mother and are there visiting their mother, just remember, if your mother is close, be sure to spend as much time as you can with her, because once she's gone, it's too late. You just have your memories, which are good, in most parts. So I started out, my mother was 21 years old when I was born. And the funny thing is that I was actually born on Mother's Day. And years later, when we started working on genealogy, I asked her, I said, was that a tough thing, to be in the hospital away from the other children on Mother's Day? And she just smiled. And she said, it was the best day of my life. She said, I laid up in that bed and those nurses were just waiting on me, and everyone was oohing and ahhing over the new baby. And she said it was really a wonderful Mother's Day. So that always made me feel better, because 6 months prior to that, she had lost a baby on Christmas Day. So, and he was almost 5 years old from polio or complications of polio. So she was a tough mother. She had, by the time I was born, she already had 4 children prior, and she was 21 years old. So I want to share a picture with you. So this is me and my mother, and I believe I was probably about 4 months old here. So I don't have a lot of photographs. And the reason is that we didn't have a camera. So when her mother or cousins or just someone who came that had a camera, that's when we had photographs taken. So, you never really think about it. These days, when you can't find a lot of pictures of your childhood, it could be the reason. We just didn't own a camera. And so that is one of it's not the first photographs that I have discovered. There are some when I was just like newborn at one of my older sister's places. But that's when we got photographs, is when someone visited. And she would jokingly say, well, when my mother visited, my cousin and I would go through her luggage and we would get out her clothes and we would dress up in her clothes and she would take our picture, because they didn't have fancy clothes. My mother sewed her clothes. She sewed our clothes. She made our little shirts and shorts and probably used feed bags. You got to remember it was in the 50s and 60s. And so she really took care. She was the mother. She took care of us always before she took care of herself. She ate after we ate, if there was anything left. She would pick our fish bones out of our fish, and each one of us would get just a little heaping piece of fish, just a little pile of fish meat. So, she always thought about us before she thought about herself. So that is the photograph. Let me get the glare off of it. That is the photograph that I just really love. And years later, she didn't like to fly, but she traveled to Georgia to Arkansas and then to Georgia. So we were a long ways away. And one time I talked her into going to get her pictures made at Glamour Shots. Not even sure if they're still around. But she got all dressed up and I got dressed up and we went and had our pictures made. And this is the picture. This is part of the picture. I'm actually in it, but for some reason I cut me out and I blew up her picture. So this was her about 10 years before she passed. And she was a beautiful woman, even without the makeup. And she felt awkward putting makeup on because she didn't normally wear makeup, you know. But she really was a pretty woman. And at the end of this video, I did discover one of my nieces actually put the original photo up that I was in it with her. And so there is, at the end of this, I have some photographs that I'm putting up, mostly of her, but there's a few of me and her. So this is just my memory. My brothers and my sisters, they have different memories, I'm sure. But let me tell you one memory. She was a tough mother because she had to be, because we would, you know, we got into stuff, but we didn't have games and we didn't have things to do that would keep us out of trouble. You know, if we weren't running through the persimmon thicket or jumping off the road into the bar ditch, and Lord, I don't know how we survived without getting hurt too badly. Although I did have some injuries, and my sister did also, that I can recall. I don't recall the brothers having, you know, any serious injuries, but so I decided, I might have been 8, but I decided I want to spend the night with my girlfriend. She was my best friend, and apparently my mother had told me no. So when it come time in the afternoon, I got on my girlfriend Glenda's bus, and I just went to her house anyway. So maybe I thought she wouldn't know that I wasn't there. I don't know what stupid idea went through my head. So I got on the bus, and I remember what a great time we had. They lived on a dirt road, and they had more bicycles. We only had one that I recall that we shared with all the kids. And I was one of the younger ones, so the older ones, they got their choice first. We rode bikes, and we just had a good time. Little did I know that my girlfriend's mother had called my mother and told her I was there. And I'm sure she said, I better call and let her know that she's not hurt or she's not really missing. So I just didn't give it a thought. So the next morning we got up on the bus and we went back to the little school. And we lived in a little town called Van Nuys, Oklahoma. And it was a really small community. So all day I didn't even think about it. Well, that afternoon I got onto my bus. And when I got off the bus, my mother was there and she was waiting, and she had a peach tree limb or switch in her hand. And she switched me all the way to the house. I remember running, and she was fast. And I remember that because it stung my little legs. And I can tell you one thing, I never did that again. Never. I don't know what would have gotten in my head not to tell my mother where I was going. But she was waiting for me, and she took care of it. So looking back, you know, she disciplined us when we needed it. She loved us when we needed it. She gave up everything for us. So these are a few of my memories of my mother. And there's a lot more that I could go on and on for days. But I just thought I would share that because we had that special bond of her Mother's Day and my birthday being on the same day. And of course, that's one of the days that I miss her the most. I can't call her and tell her, that I miss her and Happy Mother's Day. And just, we loved exchanging cards. I would send her a little Mother's Day card. So I didn't have a lot, but I sure did remember her. And I talked to her. And sometimes the boys aren't as thoughtful. Maybe they don't call you as much. But I just pick up the phone and do it anyway. But I'll just warn you, if your mother lives close, you check on her a lot. And if she doesn't live close, you check on her even more, because you never know what she's going through. So this has been a hard Mother's Day for me for some reason this year, but I am fortunate to have all three of my children close, and they all came over yesterday, and we had a very good time. Two of the grandchildren were not there, but for work. So we had a very nice visit and a good meal, good worship fellowship. We just enjoyed each other's company. So I hope you have a good day, and stay at the end and look at the little photographs that I've put on the end. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. I love the encouragement, comment, share. We just, we just want to share this little journey with you. And we appreciate you tuning in. So hit that bell, and we'll let you know when a new one comes up. Bye.